third paragraph on the first page. From the bottom, the third paragraph from the bottom. The board was reminded that first it needed. It should be needed instead of need.
Okay. Any further corrections? Do I have a motion? So moved.
Second.
All right, so we have a motion to make that one correction and adopt the minutes. Wait a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 7-0. 5F, trustee Hunter.
My main question was about under project background, the end of the first page where we talked about the technical advisory committee. And I, even in the minutes, we talked about wanting to have more board presence on that committee than just the public works committee chair. But I know we hadn't discussed whether we were going to actually have a committee or not at that point. But I guess I also just more generally felt like I know all of us are very concerned about this study and wanted to be, answering the questions that we have and, answering all the different needs that the residents are coming forward with. So I guess I felt there really weren't enough opportunities for the board to hear, maybe see drafts or hear presentations or just understand where the study is going until we just, get this product. And I guess I'm worried that we're going to get this product and it's not going to be what we want, and we've burned through a lot of the budget. And so I don't know if other people share my concern, but I feel like it would be nice if there were either more of us on the committee, if there are people who want to be on that committee, or just some more opportunities for Bart to report on what's happening or show us drafts, or I don't know. That would be a suggestion.
I think from our prior conversation, committee of the whole, would reactivating the Public Works Committee for this item, specifically, work so that there are touch points with 3 trustees that are continually overseeing the project, with the chairman, of course, scheduling the meetings.
Well, we haven't made that decision yet, so that's.
I'm just asking.
That's part of the bigger question.
We could rephrase it. It's not the Public Works Committee, but it could be 3 members of the Public Works Committee on the ad hoc committee rather than just Trustee Warren. So I don't phrasing is just getting.
If we were to have Public Works Committee and it just be a standing item on the agenda, and Bart could just say, well, this is what they're looking at, or here's a problem that's come up, or, just so we were, so I don't know that I want to be on that technical committee, but I would like to know kind of how things have been, so how things are going. I mean, basically, this is our Wilson Drive for 2019. And I don't think we want to go to the extent we did with that, but we had two trustees on that committee for that project who were going all the meetings, myself and Mike, and Pat was on there. And we had very frequent discussions about what was happening with it at SIC and at the full board. So I just feel like we need to have more touch points on it.
So is there more, I'm hearing 2 things, I'm just trying to get resolution. Is the suggestion that Trustee Warren will be overseeing it, I'm sure the Public Works Committee, maybe 1 other trustee, not 2 other trustees, and schedule more committee of the whole touch points?
The RFP is just for the consultants, what we do on our end with how the committee and BART reports back to us and we give them feedback is within our realm and really beyond this RFP, I think.
Although it does specify what the technical committee is made up of, and Bart members.
Yeah, I'm happy to revise the RFP if it's the will of the board, but there will be a communications plan with this project as well that I'm going to prepare next. So the RFP, in my intention was to, generalize what the project is, that a consultant would know how to bid on it and what, touch points they're going to have, whether that's through staff or the Public Works Committee or Committee of the Whole, or however that wants to be. So I'm happy to revise that if there is consensus tonight, but in terms of the nuts and bolts of how the communication will work, that will be in a communication plan specifically tied to this project. So I wouldn't want to, tie us too far down the communication aspect of this within the RFP proposal. But if the board does want to, indicate it's oversight of the Public Works Committee or oversight of, selected trustees or however you want to work it, I'm happy to do that, but just keep in mind the communications plan will probably have the more detailed points that you're probably looking for. But
maybe we just take out reference to the technical committee and we decide that at a later point in time.
Yeah.
That there'll be a committee, advisory committee, and don't define what it is.
I don't think that would impact the responses of the consultant, so that's.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that we need more than one trustee on the technical committee, but I guess if there's gonna be a communication plan, then that would address my concern about, I just don't want it to be a black box, and then we get this report, and we say, oh, this isn't what we wanted,
Yep. Understandable, and I wouldn't want that either, so.
Trustee Warren.
And just to be clear, as the Public Works Committee chair, I'm completely open to whatever structure we want to put on this, whether it's another trustee or two being on the technical advisory committee or me reporting back more often in the committee of the whole. I'm very much open to kind of whatever we want, because I think this should be kind of a collective. I don't want somebody to come at the end and say, well, we didn't want this at all. I'd like people to be involved throughout the process to make sure we're getting what we want. This is a big initiative for us.
Can I ask a question? So there's two things. I had mentioned to Bart once, so I probably have reviewed the most of the regulations, and one of the things that has always sparked controversy and brought out the most people when we talk about parking is the residential congested areas, the RCA surrounding the university. I have not heard from one trustee that needs to change, that specific area. So there's commuter congested areas, but then there's also this hard boundary of the RCA. And the only reason I mention that is if we don't plan to change that, which it took Milwaukee 10 years to get, and I think it's working well in my perspective, that will relieve a lot of concern in the community and time consumption of, that's what I found at Public Safety Committee, is that is the thing people come out for. So if there is consensus on that, if not, we can move forward and study it. My recommendation is that we take it out because I haven't heard from any board member that it's an issue. Trustee?
I would say I would keep it in because we want to have this done comprehensively, and a lot of that area has been done, has changed piecemeal over. So we are at this spot partially because of,
I guess you'd have to read the ordinance, so we can leave it in, but it is a very defined area, and you'd still be looking at the area, but that mechanism of parking has worked well, and it's very defined in our ordinance, so I'm okay with leaving it in. It's just going to be a very large time consumption on our part by leaving it in.
If it's working well, it should be a non-issue. I mean, but they may have other options, other communities that live next to a large university. There's other tools and approaches that they may want to put forth even beyond this area and stuff. So,
it's just repealing that has brought out the concern that we may repeal it. I'm just giving you the...
oh, well, that's fine. People are going to be concerned about a variety of things that we may or may not do, but we still should base our decisions on the best evidence.
Absolutely. I just made that suggestion to give you a heads up. Trustee
I
Mentor.
had another question on item D, design approval and implementation of transportation projects. When you say transportation, what do you mean? Because I think transportation, I think roads, bikes, like transportation means buses, transportation means everything.
Correct.
Is that what you mean by transportation?
Correct.
Okay.
And
Just to go back on the previous point, the draft RFP is specifically excludes looking at that residential congested area, so if the board would like it to be included, I just want to be clear on that. It's currently drafted on page 3, task 2A, 3, recommended options for regulation modifications not to include the residential congested commuter area. So if you'd like that in there, now would be the time to strike that out. Specifically, if you'd like it as is. I just want to be clear in what we're approving tonight, that it is currently excluded from a recommendation based on previous feedback, so just to be clear.
So we're not gonna look at the RCA at all, under this RFP.
For any mode of transportation, including bicycles.
I think it was just the ordinance.
Correct.
Ordinance stated, oh, there's an RCA.
Correct.
Oh, just the ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally support the ordinance.
I mean, it'll obviously be, you know, reviewed for lack of better words, that we have one, but it's the concept that we're not looking to reinvent what that ordinance achieves. So that's why I was excluded within the scope here, so that we don't.
Maybe the wording would be better.
Is there a recommendation for, and happy to make it more
To
clear.
say not to include repealing the residential congested commuter area ordinance, something like that, just.
But I mean,
We're
what
still
if
looking at the
consultants
area.
come up with a different idea, or
Right.
a better
Right.
idea?
Yeah.
If we want to discuss it, that's, I have zero issues with that. It was just in terms of what we can accomplish and what time we have. That was identified as one of those things that, you know, took a long time to get where we're at. And there seemed to be general consensus that
It's
there
a
was.
large public involvement component that will come out. That's just what I've noticed as being on the public safety committee when we used to talk about parking. That was,
People are gonna come out for the overnight parking. I mean, that is.
And it's transparency, and it's probably good to revisit it with a discussion, and this is, we're discussing this comprehensively. I understand the issues, so we have 9 grand, and that's it. So,
well, for parking, we have, I don't know, 50, not even 40, 30, something really small.
15.
15, it's very small, so we're gonna eat up, we could eat up a significant amount of that 15,000, that's all I'm saying.
So what's our option here? I mean, is this like, somebody would need to amend this? Because I support it the way it's written.
Okay, so just make a motion.
So,
Okay, go ahead, I have one more thing I want to
I don't, you can conclude.
ask. Okay, so my only other question was the parking, the enterprise parking, is it a parking utility or parking enterprise, whatever it's called? Is there something in here that just has them look at that? Because our administrator, when I was working on parking for those years, our finance director had mentioned once, like, and I heard it also from our past village manager, that someone should be looking at our lot management, like our parking utility, to see if that's the most efficient method of doing parking, because some of them are doing like 15 spots, 9 spots, and it might be less, we can utilize our resources somewhere different, and I'm just wondering if that's in, we're just looking at that parking utility.
I probably need to understand that request a little bit better. The place where that would be located would be tasked to see municipal parking, where it talks about a review of the inventory of municipal parking provisions, regulations, and fees. If there's greater clarification, once again, I'm not up to speed
It
fully
would
with.
be, so I would insert the word review inventory of municipal parking enterprise, provisions, regulations, and fees. It's a whole, we have a separate utility for parking, and we talked about that in budget, about transferring money out and the administration of it, and we have a sum of money for reserve, and what, I think it just needs to be included, especially because there's funding involved.
There's a lot beyond, we really need to focus on this traffic and the park, the stop sign. That could be a whole parking utility and how it's operated.
Not how it's operated, just the parking utility, all that the parking utility is our surface parking lots.
Right.
Correct? So if we're looking at parking, it's probably important because we have money in that utility. So what, I would like advice on how to spend the reserve of 300,000, or, I mean, if it comes down to recommendations at the end of, we need to fix a parking lot or change our parking and we need money, it probably should be involved.
Well, that, I mean, the design, approval, implementation of transportation projects will include parking lot improvements, right?
I would call it a transportation project. It's related to transportation.
And 2C has review inventory of municipal park provisions, regulations, and fees. Provide recommended options to changes. Pretty broad.
I was gonna say, and once again, the RFP was drafted
Yeah.
in the broadest sense of some of those things, but those specific requests, I've been keeping a list in my desk, mental note, make sure these things are discussed in there. So whether or not it needs to be discussed specifically in the RFP, I guess is, a good question, but
You can let
if
us
it's not
know.
in the RFP specifically, it doesn't mean that it won't be touched within a broader category. And I'll add it to my, list at my desk and we'll see where it fits in.
I just want to make you aware.
Sure.
And we can talk about it offline.
Okay.
Trustee McKay.
I would make a motion to approve the request for proposal for the Village of Shorewood transportation and parking analysis.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Question, on the first page, there was a mention of changing the internal technical advisory, that paragraph, but this proposes no changes there.
Yeah.
Page 1, I just want to make sure I understand where we're at.
Right, the motion is not do that. I am concerned about that, and I would have to vote no to the motion without amendment, only because we do have a funding partner at the CDA. We do have, when I used to do city planning, any funding partner is a technical partner in our, they have to be a partner somewhere on some committee, so I think that we need to discuss that makeup. I also think that our other services advisory board should be on there since they are doing a pedestrian transportation study at the moment, so we need to coordinate that too. So I'd like to take the time to decide at a different point how that's made up.